I gotta make some paper, yo.
Finish him!
Yes, sir. Let's get into the video. So to start this video, all we need to do is we're gonna have a little blood effect, and if you don't have this effect, don't worry. Join my Discord down below, and this will already be ready for you and ready to go. If you need the animation, just hit me up on my DMs or just DM me my server, and I'll give you the animations. Don't worry about it. I'm here to help you guys out. Then all we're gonna do, this hit effect is gonna be in our server storage. So I'll just put it into the workspace so you can see how it looks like. And we're gonna go into our replicated storage, and we're gonna have our animations. Gonna have swing 1 all the way to swing 5, and depending on how many animations you have here will depend on how many swings your system will have. And the system is completely using object-oriented programming, so you can have 1 or 2, and it'll still work. So you can have as many animations as you want. And this is gonna be our hit stun right here outside of it. So when we hit them, how they're gonna be moving or how they're gonna be looking like when they get hit. All right, now let's get into the main stuff. So to start us off, let's start off with saying Merry Christmas to all of you guys. Let's make this a amazing Christmas special holiday video for you guys. I hope you guys really enjoy this video before we get into it. So first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna basically weld our sword. So a little trick that I like to do here is I like to go into like this little plugin called Tool Grip Editor, sorry. Click on this, right? And then if I'm click on it again. So I can basically edit how I want the sword to look like when it comes in my hand. So this is really good, so you don't have to manually weld it inside the script. So if you're wondering how I made it look like pretty perfect when I was coding it, this is how you do it using a plugin called Tool Grip Editor. You can see whoever made this plugin right here, and that's how you guys do it. All right, now let's get into the script. So all we're gonna do here is we're gonna make a local script. We're gonna get replicate storage, get the tool, just make it when the tool is activated, we're gonna fire a remote event to script.parent, so that's gonna basically be a tool. And now let's get into the main script. So for this script, we basically just use object-oriented programming for basically the whole thing, right? So we're gonna get our services, replicate storage, run service, and players. We're gonna get our v1 table. We're gonna get our animation, swing 1 all the way to swing 5. And then we're gonna get our settings table, and this is gonna be like what we wanna have. This is gonna be our what we want our sword system to do, so like the cooldown, the reset cooldown, the final cooldown, the damage, and the stun duration. We're gonna get our player stats and our player func. That's what we're gonna be using later. And this player data is basically gonna be like basic data we're gonna be defining. So just don't worry about these 2 lines right here. Just know that it's gonna be helping us for autocomplete. I put it on the side, so if you do get this and you don't understand what's going on, just know that this just helps with autocomplete. So now all we're going to do here is create a local function called new player, fire the player, and then all we're going to do is just basically set all of our values, so to the default values to when they fire the new player when they join the game. And then we're going to set a meta table, so this player data is going to get all the meta methods of the player func. And then we're going to set the player stats player, so we're going to put inside the table equal to the player data. And then then we're gonna do local function remove player, and then we're gonna fire the player as well. So basically, when they leave the game, we want to reset the data to nil. So basically, just make sure just set it equal to nil. So basically, remove the data like it wasn't even there. And now all we're gonna do here is do funcs, player funcs, and apply a particle. All we're gonna do is fire the enemy character and the total wait time. We're just gonna basically just clone the hit effect from server script service. from server storage, sorry, and then we're gonna parent it to the human root part that we're hitting, and then we're gonna C-frame it so it's like it looks a little bit better, I guess. It really depends on how you feel like, or what you want to do. I just made it like a little bit better for myself to make it look nice. Then we're gonna put an animation when it get hit, and then we're just gonna do fire debris, the game that debris add item. So it's gonna remove the item after the total wait time plus 0.7 seconds. And then we're gonna have the little knockback. So the player funks knockback, and then we're gonna find the enemy character. All we're gonna do is get body velocity and just parent it to the enemy character's human root part. Then we're gonna set the max force. We're gonna set the velocity, and the velocity is just gonna be the our human root part see from our look vector, and it's gonna be times 20 and 60. So this depends like how strong the knockback is really gonna be. So these two numbers right here are going to be really the indicators of how strong the knockback will be. So if these are like pretty big numbers, the knockback will be pretty strong. So, and then we're going to remove this by using debris, and this we're going to remove it every 0.3 seconds. So remove it in 0.3 seconds actually, not every 0.3 seconds, in just 0.3 seconds. And then we're going to basically do player function reset combo, which is just going to reset the combo equal to 1. And then we're going to basically now we're going to make the hitbox. Now we're going to define self. Self is basically going to be our player func right here. So we're just defining self, right? That's all we're doing. And all we're gonna do is gonna get a sword, which is gonna be a tool, and the animation length. So if we already have a hitbox, then we'll return n. All we're doing is we're creating our overlap params, and we're just gonna blacklist our character so we can't hit ourselves. Then we're just gonna make a table called parts, and then all we're gonna do here is we're gonna loop through the sword, and we're gonna put all the parts of our weapon inside of the parts table. And then all we're gonna do is basically set the sword hitbox equal to run service. And then all we're gonna do is make a for loop, and we're gonna loop through the parts. And when we loop through the parts here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically go through every single part to try to see if we actually hit something right. So all we're gonna do is local bounding box, and we're gonna set it equal to workspace get parts bounding box. And then we're gonna get the part C frame and the size. Now I just made the size a little bit bigger, so it's like a little bit more accurate. But like you don't have to do this, but like this is just my preference. And then we're gonna fire overlap parameters so it doesn't hit us. And then we're also gonna just put this into the for loop now. And now all we're gonna do is if we find a human that we hit, we're just gonna get this is gonna be the human that we're hitting, right? And if it's not a human, then we're just gonna continue end. So it's gonna keep going. It's gonna loop through the whole thing without doing nothing because we're continuing end. And then if we find a humanoid inside of a humanoid inside of the table, then we're gonna continue end. And then if self combo equals the animation, so basically like when we get to the last hit of the combo of the combat, so we get to like the last and one of whatever animations you have in here. So let's say we have 5 animations, then we're basically going to be we're basically going to be knocking back the player, and we're going to fire hit that player, which is going to be basically the character that's getting hit, and we're going to do 0.3 seconds because that's going to be our duration time. And then we're going to end, and then we're going to insert the human inside our self.hits table. And then we're going to do player func, and then we're going to do that. Then we're going to change their speed. So we're going to change the human speed that's being hit to 5 and 0, so they can basically move a little bit, but they can't jump. And then we're going to make them take damage to whatever our setting that damage is. That would be, let's double check, would be 5. And then all we're going to do is set auto rotate equal to false, so they can't really rotate their screen too much to try to get out really easily. And then we're going to do self apply particle, and we're going to fire hit dot parent. And the animation length, because hit dot parent is basically going to be the character. And all we're doing is just firing the particle on them, so every time they get hit to the little blood effect that we have. And then we're going to get local hit player is going to be basically all we're doing is just getting the player from the character. So getting a player from the character. And if hit player and settings that hit players, this is basically going to get the enemy's data. Then all we're going to do here is do local player class is going to be equal to their data, and then we're going to set is stun equal to true, and then we're going to put them into the stun table so that we know that they're being stunned. And then all we're going to do here for the next function here is we're going to do stop sword hitbox, so pretty self-explanatory. All we're going to do if not self.hitbox, then return end. So if you don't have a hitbox, but if we do have a hitbox, then we're going to disconnect the hitbox, and then we're going to set it equal to nil. And then change speed, pretty self-explanatory. To change this walk speed and the jump power for whatever humanoid is fired through the function. So walk speed is a number and jump power is a number. And all we're gonna do here for player functions dot reset stun is basically just resetting the stun, right? Pretty self-explanatory with the names. Try to make it really easy to understand. So we're just gonna wrap it in this. Basically, this is like think of it like a spawn function. If you don't know what a quarantine wrap is, it's gonna run outside of the function. So all we're gonna do here, we're gonna wait the stun duration. Then we're gonna loop through this. Then we're gonna loop through the players that are stunned. Then we're gonna set their stun equal to false, so they're not stunned no more. Then we're gonna reset a table. Then we're gonna set the self.stun back to a table. And then for player function that reset hits, all we're gonna do here is we're gonna loop through this the self.hits, which is gonna be the humanoids, and then we're gonna change their speed back to normal, and we're gonna set the auto rotate back to true so they can start rotating again. And then we're gonna set self.hits equal to a table, so we're basically gonna be resetting it back to normal. And now this is where all the main stuff is getting put. This is where all the main stuff is being put into one. So if we don't have the character, then we're going to return N. If the self.cooldown is equal to true, then return N. If the player is stunned, then we don't want that to happen, so we're going to return N again. And then we're going to set a cooldown equal to true. And then basically, if they're how can I explain it? So if their current self.combo is greater than their number of animation, then we're going to reset the combo back to 1. We also do the same thing down here, but for this part, we're actually gonna be like waiting a certain amount of time because that's what we want to do. So they like have like a final cooldown. We're not let's wait until we get to that part. So all we're gonna do here is when the time they're punching, if they wait more than the reset cooldown time, then we're gonna reset the combo because they waited too long to hit. And then we're gonna base reset last hit equal to tick, just reset it back to normal. And then all we're gonna do is just get the animation track that we want to use when we're punching. And then we want to make the hitbox. We're going to find a sword, and we're going to find a length of how long. Then we're going to find the length of how long we want each like hit to essentially be. So we're going to do animation length dot 0.01, pretty self-explanatory. Then we're going to do animation priority to set the priority to action. Play the animation. Then we're going to change. Our speed. We're going to change our speed so when we're hitting them, we can't really like move too much to try to get like a huge advantage. And then we're gonna wait this duration, so like after we're done using the animation, and then we can so our animation sync with our sword, right? We don't want it to be like too off. We want it to be like just right, or just the amount of like animation length when we hit them. And then we're gonna do reset stun, so fire the reset stun function. All right, then we're gonna change our speed back to normal, and then we're gonna fire reset hits, and then we're gonna add 1 to the combo, and then we're gonna reset tick back to normal. Then we're gonna stop our sword hitbox. And the reason why I'm going a little bit fast on these, if you guys probably wonder why I'm going fast, because we explained it up here, because all we're doing is just explaining this again. And then basically, if self.com was greater than the animation plus 1, so this is basically gonna get like the last M1 for us. And then we're gonna reset the combo, and then we're gonna wait a certain amount of time. We're gonna wait the final cooldown time, which is gonna be like maybe 2 seconds. Like after you're done using all your M1s, this is gonna be the amount of time you wait. And then we're going to set this self.cooldown equal to false. So self.cooldown is basically going to be our debounce, if you want to think about it like that. And then we're going to do our local function on swing event. We're going to fire the player and the sword. And then we're going to do local player data. So this is basically going to have our data. This is basically going to have our data with our like cooldown, it's going to have the player. It's basically going to be this, right? It's basically going to be this right here. All these functions. All the table values. So and then if they don't have no data, so if this is like essentially nil, then we're gonna return N. But if not, then we're just gonna do player data swing source. So we're gonna fire basically our main function, and then all we're gonna do is just fire them into the corresponding events. So just on swing replicate storage events swing on swing event. We're gonna connect the on swing function, and then when the player is added and removed, we're basically gonna give them that little table value that we were talking about. And then when they leave, we're gonna reset those table values so they don't have it no more. And for this video, this is how you make your sword combat system. I hope you guys really enjoyed the system. I had a lot of fun making this with my partner Striker, and I really hope you guys take something from this video. And if you guys have any suggestions for the next video, hit me up, join the Discord, comment down, look at the polls. We're really interactive with the server, so if you think you have a good video suggestion, hit me up. And hope you have a nice day. Merry Christmas. Peace out.